This not just girl talk.
It's talk for the people.
You got two women,
Two voices,
one sound.
and that's the truth.
You here with the married Dawn,
And the selective Dawn.
and we here to call a spade a motherfucking spade. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get to it.
No, I really have been saying that. Like the intro sounds like we can sing, like we can harmonize. We can't though.
With enough to drink, we probably could. I could be like the left eye of the group. I could be the rapper.
No, I've heard Tricky T rapping. That's just not it.
I've been working on it though.
Oh, you got a hot 16 for him?
Not yet.
So you ain't been working.
By the end of the season, nigga, that intro gonna be totally different.
It's gonna be lit.
It's gonna be Liddy City.
Okay. Well, how was your week?
I'm tired of hearing about Popeyes.
But have you had the Popeye sandwich?
I have not. At first I wanted it, but then I was just like, I'm tired of hearing about it.
So would it be greedy of me to say I had both of them? Not in the same day.
No.
And both times that I went, I saw people in there acting a nigga fool. Like one older lady was smooched in the head by a young girl. That couldn't have been my mother, but they were legit.
Was she trying to cut in line?
I don't really know what she was doing, but she was like, "And bitch, you better not be on Section 8." And she...
So the young girl said that to the older lady? Mm-hmm. That's not nice.
That's somebody's grandma, but
that is.
But grandma came back with the heat because she definitely gave her, "Bitch, you don't know me." You know, so it was, I don't want us fighting over chicken like that, though.
No, we've been showing our ass over fried chicken. I talked about that shit last week. That's what Dr. CB daughter said, but she said it was just for women. But niggas acting a pure fool, too. I posted a video today with a nigga, he jumped through the drive-through window.
Because he was getting smacked with the broom.
Yes.
The dustpan, rather. I saw that.
Yes, but come on, like, but the line yesterday when I was going to Legacy to get my chicken sandwich, the line just to get into the parking lot of Popeyes, ridiculous.
And you said you was going to Legacy?
I was.
Located at 10909 Livingston Road, Fort Washington, Maryland. Black-owned business.
And that chicken sandwich, well, when I finish it, it's going to be good. But, whew, Lord.
It's not even just a regular chicken sandwich. It's a Hennessy chicken sandwich.
That chicken sandwich was on point. Mm-hmm.
Home of the crab fries.
Mm-hmm.
All that.
Mm-hmm.
Just go get you some.
I had the Old Bay fries. They was real good. And the strawberry lemonade.
Oh, you was just eating the fuck up.
I was.
This is a total different narrative from a couple weeks ago. I'm going to get my mind right.
But, you know, I did, though. I fasted from the Friday before until yesterday. So yesterday was my first day eating anything that wasn't a fruit or vegetable.
Oh, so you were eating fruits and vegetables and drinking water.
I was drinking water.
And minding your business.
And minding my business.
How'd that make you feel?
It felt really good. I was in a I don't want to say a dark space, but I was in a confused space. And it's funny how, you know, I think it was last episode I had said that for the emotional part I can hide. Well, I guess I can't because, like, out the blue, literally all my friends, even ones that I haven't talked to in a while, was, like, reaching out to me. So, yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm going to actually do it again.
After California.
No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start doing it Monday through Thursday.
Oh, and Friday you going
wild out.
Be
it's
with
like, nah. But yeah. And I think that's why I got full so fast is because I ain't really been eating like solids and meats and shit like that. So after them fries, I was out. Like, I had to take a nap. I did. Like, I took a good nap after that. And that wasn't even half the meal. But
was that the itis? Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah. And thanks for you helped me out because, you know, I got lost on the way back home. And
that's 10 minutes from your house.
Yes. Thank you, friend.
You're welcome, friend.
How was your week?
My week was full of L's. Like, I took a lot of losses this week. But they were good losses. They were comical losses. I don't know if I'm going to share them on
I was going to ask, are you going to share that one?
I maybe can share one of them. So, I was using the bathroom and for whatever reason, I thought that someone was shooting in the building. I just heard this loud, like, boom. So, in midstream, I jump up. But, you know, you want to let me tell the story or what?
Yeah, man, I'm listening.
I jump up, but, you know, of course, I was using the bathroom, so my pants and everything are down around my ankles. I'm shuffling, trying to get to the bathroom door handle. Just so I don't fall on the floor. When I come to my senses, my heart is racing. Still got my pants down around my ankles. And what the fuck was it? The paper towel holder had busted open, and all the paper towels were on the floor. So mind you, I'm trying to shuffle and pick the paper towels up. Still got my ass out. It was, it was a whole
Your
lot.
ass was fully out, and you
Literally.
just
I was just assed out.
tapping all
And I
through
hit
the
the
floor.
door. I think I woke up with a mild concussion the next morning. So when I walked out the bathroom, my principal was like, "Oh, is everything okay? Don't worry about it. I'm good." Yeah. So this week was I had some sense knocked into me, I guess you would say,
That's a good one.
but it wasn't how it happened. You done?
You the one who told the story, not me.
Yeah, that was my big L for the week.
That's good. That's good. I saw I was watching Steve Harvey yesterday.
He still come on, or was it a rerun?
He still come on. Well, I don't know if it was a rerun or not. I never watched it, and I was only watching because the person doing my hair was watching it.
Oh,
And she was into it too.
she loved that show.
I can tell.
That and The Price is Right.
Oh God, she was watching the stories when I got there. But and I didn't know that still came on. So anyway, when we was watching Steve Harvey, it was funny because this white man, well, it's not funny, but this white man was on there from PG County. And he was on there because he helps a lot of kids in his neighborhood. And he was saying, Steve was asking him what made him want to like start helping all these kids, these underserved kids in his community. And he said in the 60s, he saw a guy shoot a police officer. And they made him identify the shooter. And he said,
The man on the show, they made him identify the shooter. Okay.
And he said that in order he identified the shooter, and when he saw the shooter, he asked him, "Why did you do this?" And the man said, "I'm not nothing. I don't have nothing to live for. I just
he kill
did
the
it."
police officer?
Yes, he killed 2 of them. Actually. So in the back of my head, I was like, well, was he black? And the police officer was white? Like, what happened? Because this was an older white man. And he said the 60s. So, but anyway, he said that's what made him start serving children in his community. But all the kids in his community that he was serving all looked the same.
Like what?
They were either white or Mexican.
They weren't black.
They weren't black. But it could have been a neighborhood, too. Because it was in Chillum. Is that how you say it? Yeah, so it was in Chillum.
Well, that's their population up there.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. So, but yeah, I noticed that, and me and the person that was doing my hair was talking about it, and she was saying how she grew up in Chicago, and that how kids just have no respect for the people that they encounter. And she was saying even when she was in Chicago, when she would see like a group of young black kids, and mind you, this is an African woman that's doing my hair. When she would see a group of young black kids, she would cross the street when she saw them. And I was like, wow, for real? She was like, yeah. She was like, they don't care. And she was like, they take it as a joke. And a lot of them do it just to say they did it. They'll pick on you just to say they picked on you. And she was like, I've seen instances. She knew somebody that was actually a teacher. And they stopped being a teacher and became a nurse because, one, they wanted to help people. But they were saying that the parents are just as bad as the kids.
If not worse.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, well, you would know about that because you work with kids and parents. So she was like, the parents are just as worse. So this person got out of the education field and went into nursing. But she was just talking about, the differences in where she came from in Africa. I don't know where. But she was just like, shit like that just did not happen. Well, she didn't say shit, but... She was saying that stuff like that just would not happen. And I was like, well, it's a new day and age. And she was like, it doesn't matter. She was like, I can go home today and no kid in my country would ever treat adults the way they do here. And she was like, adults wouldn't even treat adults the way they do here. So I was just thinking, because I've been like reading a lot this week and listening to different things. And I was just like, a lot of that really comes from our leadership.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. And so if you look at your president, this nigga is just...
not my president.
This nigga is just wilding the fuck out. And so is everybody else.
Like, he's been wilding out since before he was the president. He's been wilding out.
But it makes a difference now because now, like, that's what's representing us. Like, I remember when I went to Mexico...
Not us.
And not us, but he had just got elected. And Frankie had said something to the Mexican people, and they was like, but your president is Donald Trump. And I was like,
don't that shit make you feel small?
Yeah, I was like, damn, nigga, like, you should just shut the fuck up. Like, now we look stupid as shit. So, yeah, it was interesting.
Oh, okay.
But that's my story of the week.
So you know how you talked about you had experienced a bit of racism.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it was my turn this week. So me and someone went out. We were going to a presentation, but before we were like, okay, we're going to go to the Hilton in Alexandria on King Street. Y'all keep this in mind for what I'm about to tell you. And we're going to go sit at the bar, have a couple drinks before the presentation. Okay, cool. We go in, the rest supervisor sits us at the bar.
The rest supervisor?
That's what his name badge said, rest supervisor.
What is that?
I don't fuck if I know. Ask Hilton.
Okay.
So Hilton, if you watching, what is your rest supervisor?
For real.
He set us at the bar and then tossed 2 menus in our direction.
Oh, I hate when people do that.
So about 5 or 10 minutes later, there was an older Caucasian gentleman that came in.
He
walked this gentleman to his seat, pulled the chair out for him, made sure the gentleman sat down, pushed his chair and walked around the bar, explained the entire menu to him. So the person I was with was like, hey, when we sat down, you tossed the menus at us and said the bartender be back.
A black male you with, sorry. Okay.
And he was like, you told us the bartender be back shortly. And we got there before happy hour. But by the time the bartender came back, happy hour was done with.
Okay.
So the rest supervisor was like, oh, well, I ain't mean anything by it.
And the rest supervisor was?
I can't even pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try to. But
so he wasn't a white male?
Yeah, he was. He was of another ethnicity, actually.
Young,
like
older?
Middle Eastern.
Okay.
Middle age.
Okay.
But he took such good care of that Caucasian gentleman, that older Caucasian gentleman. He explained everything on the menu, even what drinks went well with what food items. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there with this nasty ass beer, like, damn, they can't even get no wings. And
you picked the beer?
Yeah, but the beer just tasted a little different after what I saw. It was probably in my mind. So when I asked for his supervisor's information, he was like, I'm the supervisor. Bitch.
Where's he? Rest supervisor?
No, you have a boss.
Yeah, that's true.
You know he gave me the main number, like the 1-800 number to call his boss.
Like the reservation? Oh, he definitely
But the person I was with went to the front desk and got the actual person's name, number, and extension. He was so fearful that we were going to complain that he went out of his way to not give us any information. I thought that was funny. He treated all the Caucasians like that in the bar.
I mean, are we surprised?
I'm not. I mean, look at the location. It's King Street. That's not for us.
Yeah.
That Old Town area.
That's true. That's true. But not only that, so we talk about the issues that we experience with different races, but I called you yesterday with that bullshit that I had to deal with from...
And be your own people.
Yes.
That make it worse.
A whole lot worse. Like, niggas just lazy as shit sometimes, and that... so I don't know.
So
I don't even know what to say
we help to
people.
perpetuate the stereotype of all black people are lazy, given what you encountered yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I told Frankie that I was like, people like that, and this is no shade to nobody because we all got to start somewhere. And on my resume, you will see an administrative assistant on there, but not now, but before. But they have a stigma around them as being lazy and just rude as fuck. And I seen that shit yesterday because I heard everything about her Walmart card. But when it came time to, can you print this out for me? Can you show me where to go? It was like, then I called back and I was like, can I have the number to this department? And she was like, okay. And she gave me the number and I was like, can you transfer me? She was like, oh, you only asked for the number. Would I only get one request per phone call? I was just like, niggas just, and that's a school system. And I'm like.
Made you so mad, made you come out your hair.
It did. It did. And my head was a hot fucking mess yesterday. And I had to take off my scarf and be like.
Was you looking like your roots? Well, that might have been the first problem. She might have took you for a joke because you came in there with your scarf on.
So?
She matched your energy.
Maybe. No, she. When I walked in there, I said, good morning. I'm here for X, Y, and Z. She was like, okay, sign in, give me your ID. So I didn't have my driver's license on me. I only had
You didn't have what?
my driver's license on me.
Thank you.
But I had my work ID, so I was like, I only got my work ID, but I'm in the system. And if you put in my name in the system, my picture show up because I'm always at the fucking school. So she was like, oh, well, we only take driver's license and passports. And I was like, okay, well, my son here, he the student. It's really for him, but I'm just here to make sure the shit get done. Because I know y'all would tell him anything. He'll go with the flow.
And he'll tell me anything.
Exactly. I need to make sure this shit is done. And so she tried to give me a hard time about my work ID. But then she sat down for 10 minutes. I heard her talking to her girlfriend about what was in her Walmart card and how her girlfriend was going to get this from Walmart. And I'm like, can you just tell me where to go, or are you trying to fix my problem while you shop? I just need to know what's going on because I got a hair appointment. And she was like, oh, I thought you knew you got to go down there. And I'm like,
why would I know that?
How would I know that? If I knew that, I wouldn't be here. But, niggas just, y'all, we got to do better as people. But Legacy is doing a lot better as people.
Look at that.
Yeah, they representing us well. But not only that, real quick. So I was watching Steve Harvey yesterday. Again. And the black lady was on there, and she was talking about how she started a business and how her friends don't support.
Well, we know that firsthand.
We do know that, and that's why I brought it up, because she was saying how her friends don't support, but they claim to be friends, and I'm just like, this is a common thing. Like, everybody is talking about it. And then I wake up this morning and I get on Instagram, and the first post I see, I seen 3 of them like this, like back to back. They was like, hey, can y'all post my business the way you talk about Popeye's chicken? And I was just like, I don't understand why it's so hard for us to just do right by us.
Nobody, you can't be better than me. We talked about this on season 1.
But why
not Aaron. AP talked about it when he was here. I can't wear your clothes and you can't wear my clothes because we're both selling clothes, but we're both pushing a product. Like, why can't we share the franchise? Why can't we share the business, the revenue? It's enough money out here for all of us to eat.
But I think, was it you I told? I was like, I wonder if a white parent would have came into the school and got the same lack of customer service that I got.
Probably so. It might have been a little worse for that school.
I was thinking it may be worse, but Frankie was like, nah, they ain't gonna treat no white people like that.
You never know. It's different types of white people. You have what is deemed upper echelon white people, and then you have upper echelon. Don't play, nigga. That's definitely a word.
I never heard of that. Can you spell it?
What? Upper echelon.
Oh, okay.
Are you serious? You never heard of that? It's like the upper class.
Oh, people I know say upper class.
You need to surround yourself with more people.
Nigga, I'm with you a lot of the time.
And my vocabulary is A1.
Okay, maybe you use B1 with me because
you a B1 kind of nigga.
Oh,
it's like, no, we'll look that up later. That was a little shade. Anyway, and then you have those Caucasian people who, and black people love to say this, who think they black. They identify as being black. So, their mannerisms are a little different.
I don't know if they really want to be black, because
they want to be black till it's time to be black.
Then, nigga, the struggle is real just within us. So,
Okay. Well, that takes us in. I think we had a pretty eventful week.
Yes.
And
it's almost your birthday. You getting excited?
No. Okay. I'm not. I'm ready to go. I'm definitely ready for this vacation.
Okay.
I'm ready for all the shenanigans that's gonna come with it. Yeah, I might come back somebody totally different. I might not even come back.
Nigga, we gotta come back.
Why? If we hit it big out there, peace.
That's true.
I'm lying. I'm coming back. I'm definitely coming back. I'm coming back for my health insurance. I'm coming back for my benefits. I'm coming back. But for that week, I'm gonna act like I don't know you, none of you niggas. But that takes us into our show.
Okay.
So I was having a conversation with someone, and that's how this topic came about blended families. You have a lot of those here lately. And by blended families, meaning when you meet someone, they have a child or children, you may or may not have a child, and you all decide to enter into a relationship together. And then your children become their children, and their children become your children. How you deal with that? What does a blended family look like? Do you have to be married to be a blended family, or can your parents just be cohabitating and this is my mother's friend or this is my father's friend, but we all live together as friends?
You asking me?
Just period. But you sitting beside me, so you got to answer.
I would think that when I hear blended family, I just assume they're married. I don't know why.
Okay.
Because when I think of blended family, well, I know why. When I think of blended family, I would think that the kids will be saying things like mom or dad. And to me,
Possibly.
you wouldn't, possibly, but you wouldn't be saying those type of things until there is a secured commitment.
Mm-hmm. And by secured, you're talking about marriage.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I think of a blended family is. I've said this before when we was
Not
on
a cheating
Crown
blended
60.
family, but a blended family.
Yeah,
Like
that's not a blended family.
Well, it will be because their child is now part of their family. But we're not talking about a cheating blended family. We're
Right.
talking about just two individuals who come into the relationship with a child or children. How does that work?
You know what? Now that you say that, the blended families that I do know, they don't call the step parent mom or dad.
They call them by their name.
They call them by their name. Majority of them call them by their name. I don't know. I think that's weird.
Do you think it's a lack of respect, or it's just, I hear my parent address you as this way, and until you tell me what to address you as, or maybe I don't know what to address you as. I can't call you mom. I can't call you Miss Tasha. I can't call you Tasha. So what do I call you?
I never want my kids to call anybody else mom. Like whether we're separated or if I'm dead. Like don't ever call anybody else mom because nobody else will love you or treat you the way that I do. I don't think it's a lack of respect. I just think that's who you are to them. I do know I think just one. If I really, really think about it, just one family that calls the person mom or dad.
And how does it make you feel when you hear that child call that person mom or dad?
It rubs me wrong because I know they're real mom or dad. Yeah,
Okay.
they're real parents. So it's just like, that's not your mother or your father. Like that.
But maybe that's what they were told to call that person.
Maybe. I don't know. But I mean, as a parent, I just feel like that's not their name. Mm-hmm. But I don't know because I kind of also feel like, it kind of takes a community. I'll tell, or some of my friends will tell my kids, call me aunt this or aunt that. And that's not really their aunt. Mm-hmm. So
speaking of that, can I just say something?
Mm-hmm.
It always bothers me when I come over the house, right? Or when I see the kids and they're like, hey, Miss So-and-so. I hate that Miss in front of it.
Really?
Yes, but I also know you don't want them to look at me as their equal.
No.
And that's why the Miss is in front of it. But I'm like, don't call me Miss nothing. Mm-hmm, but I don't want to be disrespectful and go against what you and Frankie have told them to call me.
Mm-hmm. My kids...
Can they just not call me Miss?
My kids are really comfortable with you. And it's weird because... I'll show them a picture and they'll be like, oh, there go Carmen. And I'm like, who was Carmen?
Oh, remember the time Chan was like, that lady upstairs?
I don't like that. I can't.
I know you don't, but that Miss
like
just
Carmen is not your friend.
Chan definitely think we girlfriends.
She does, but that's not your friend. Like and I know my kids, they can get super comfortable.
They are.
Like,
and me and your baby boy came a long way.
Y'all did. Y'all came a long way. Yeah, so he's never called you Carmen though.
He always makes sure to tell his sister, no, it's Miss.
Yeah, he's always called you Miss Carmen. But Chan, I think I've even heard Frankie get comfortable enough and be like Carmen.
And I'll be like, yeah, what's up?
No, that's not your friend. So
I just don't like the Miss in front of it.
What you want them to call you, Aunt Carmen?
I just don't say Miss.
It got to be something. Now, some of my friends don't like that, and they be like, well, call me Aunt this, Aunt that. Cool, but that's not your friend. I call her Carmen. You not going to call her Carmen.
Oh, like, bitch.
Nigga, I wish. I wish a nigga would. No.
Yeah, just don't call me Miss, please. I'm okay with the whatever else, and I know they can't say just my name. Mm-hmm. But okay. I think it's funny like, you know, when Chan was playing with the filters one day, she was like, Carmen, let me see your phone. Here,
Yeah,
girl.
no. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I don't like that. But you know, blended families are and this is just me speaking from the outside in. Blended families are really hard. I've always said that that's something I just don't think I could do.
Well, you know, I always got a story for stuff like this.
Okay.
I come from a blended
Story
family.
time. Okay.
Each of my parents came into the relationship with a child. Mm-hmm. My father came with my oldest brother, and my mother came with my oldest sister.
Okay.
And we grew up as a family. You know, the exchange, it wasn't a thing of like, that's your mother, that's your father. We're family. You know?
So they all call each other or each of your parents mom and dad.
Yeah, well, no, my brother calls my mother Cynthia,
Okay.
but she cool with it.
Okay.
You know, she cool with it. She wasn't cool when I said it when I was younger. I don't know why. I heard everybody else calling you Cynthia, so I thought that shit was cool. And she was like, "No, I'm mom to you." But why you Cynthia to him? So you know, that was a growing pain I had to get through. But we grew up as siblings. You know, it wasn't a thing of like your parent not my parent not your parent. It was we a family. But I think, you know, that was back in the whenever it was in the 80s. I think now blended families look so different. Like, I don't know if families are blended because they genuinely want to be, or if they're blended for like some sort of security. Meaning, like, you know how you see men, and I never understood this, men who just move in prematurely with women. Like, where did you come from? Or women who do this. Because I've seen women take their children and just uproot them after knowing this guy for maybe 30, 40 days.
Okay.
And now you live with him.
Okay.
How does that work?
And they live with them with their kids?
Yes. And it's like a swinging door type of thing. This relationship is over, so boom, I'm going on to this one. Like, do you really want to be a blended family, or do you just need somewhere to go?
Do you watch Hollywood Unlocked?
You know, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Speaking of TV, are you ready for Power?
No, but I'm going to a Power release party, but I've never seen the show.
Oh,
I'm going for the fun.
But
I've never seen the show.
That's really sad.
What? Is that the big rich town?
Yes. Ain't that sad? That's really sad. Like,
Donnie, are you back there cackling?
Yes, because I don't know if you belong with.
I don't belong where?
With us.
Who is us?
Us.
Oh, I'm not a part of the culture.
We all watch culture. I mean, shit, culture. Power.
What she need, Donnell? reverse.
We all watch Power.
I've never watched Power
That's
before.
really sad. That's sad.
Why?
Nigga, you gotta see this shit.
I'd rather watch documentaries.
Now you bullshitting because, nigga, you made me watch Black Ink.
And I didn't watch the rest of the
2
season.
seasons ago.
And I didn't watch it.
Do you know that nigga just turned 50?
Who, Caesar?
Yes.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, back to the blended family. I'm sorry. I'm so excited about Power. So I don't think that's safe nowadays. And to be honest, it wasn't safe back then, because if you hear a lot of like molestation stories and things like that, it's from these uncles that moved in, or, you know, my
These
mother's
uncles.
friends.
You know, black people good for giving somebody a title. Oh, this mommy's friend, but you gonna call him Uncle so-and-so.
Nigga, I
Why
just
Uncle
said
sleeping
my
in bed with
kid,
you?
they gonna call you Aunt Carmen.
Well, they can't watch this show, but you know how black people are good for saying, oh, this is mommy's friend, but you can call him Uncle so-and-so or Aunt so-and-so if it's your father. No.
Yeah.
Them false tales. We have seen that.
And a lot of them haven't turned out.
To be an aunt or uncle.
Yeah. Or a safe place. Like, I think a aunt and uncle should be a safe place.
Your safe haven.
Yeah. I have some uncles and some aunts, but more so uncles, that are really my safe space. Like, you know, shout out to my Uncle Tyrone and Uncle Joe. But those are like my safe spaces. I never have to worry about anything around them. And I think that a lot of women are looking for security, like you said.
Well, men too, because I've seen it on the other end. I've seen where men have moved their children into women's homes, and it's like, where you come from? Like, how are you just able to just move in so freely and from place to place to place?
Well, they may be homeless.
There's no maybe, they are.
Well, that's why they move. That's the answer. I need a roof.
That's not cool.
It's funny you say that, because I was driving yesterday and
Before you got lost?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with my kids, so I had to
Focus.
yeah. So this lady, it was raining a little bit yesterday. So this lady was in the car and she was arguing with this guy. So she's sitting in the passenger seat door because it's raining. The door opens because she arguing with him. He's standing outside arguing with her, but the two kids were standing outside in the rain.
Wow, what?
Yes. And I was like, those gotta be like his kids, and maybe she put them all out. Because I can't see with some trifling mothers nowadays, but a mother having her kids stand outside in the rain and she's sitting in the car arguing with a nigga.
Now I heard you just put emphasis on mother, and I've seen this before. This kind of goes off topic, but why is it that it's more emphasis always on the mother and her responsibility than the father? Almost like the mother loves a little bit more than the father.
I think she does.
Why? Because she carried?
Yes.
You couldn't carry without the father.
You couldn't, but I always tell Frankie, like, you'll never have the connection I have with my kids. Ever.
You won't have the connection he has with them.
Mine's is stronger. Mine's is.
Who told you that?
That's what I think.
Remember, you always think you're right, too.
I do. And I'm always open to learning something different. But I don't think that a father's love will ever compare to a mother's love. I think a father's love is more so about security. And I think a mother's love is like love.
I don't know about that one.
I grew up in a 2-parent household, and my mother's love is way different than my father's love.
Doesn't make it more important than your father's love?
It doesn't make it more important, but the bond is very different.
Okay.
The bond is very different. My dad is a provider, and he's really been big on that, just making sure my kids they never go without. But if something went down, I'm going to my mother.
Because the mother is deemed as the fixer.
That's just a safer place.
Well, you know what they say, mothers make a way out of no way. So
maybe, I don't know. I never thought about it until actually hearing it. But I don't know what it is, but I definitely think that my love for my kids will never be. Frankie couldn't love my kids the way.
Don't say that.
I don't think so. It's not a bad thing, but nigga, those are my kids. Like, maybe it's the old saying, what is it? Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
You might not want to say that on here.
No, those are all his kids. Those are all his kids for sure. But it's more so of like those. That's just, they came from me.
You know.
I
don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know either. But the blended family thing, and I said this on Crown 360. I don't know if I said it on our show, but I don't think that's something I could ever do.
So you and your mate go your separate ways. You don't think that you could accept another child?
No.
That's an extension of your children, though. As much as you might not want to accept that.
But it's not my child.
But it's an extension. I have a baby. My baby's not your child. That will be an extension of you, though, because you are so closely related to my life.
Right.
Nigga, you pick my baby up. If your twins get nuggets, my kid better get some nuggets, too.
Yeah. But okay, so I think it's different for friends versus a mate. Like, because my friends' kids, I love my friends' kids, but I just don't think that Frankie could have came into this relationship with a kid and I love that kid the same way.
I don't know, because you and him got together really young.
Yeah, but it's a constant reminder of his past. Happened. Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
That's not fair. We all have a past.
We do. And we talked about that before. We do all have a past. But I don't think I want that constant reminder.
Okay. Well, when is an appropriate time, or an appropriate time and setting for your children your children to meet your potential mate? Because let's say I was having this conversation with somebody and they were like, well, if we meet in the park, my kids might not know to directly associate this man with my mom because this is just somebody I'm just out having a free conversation. We might be throwing a football or whatever, versus if this man is now at my mother's house or this woman is at my father's house. So I know that there's some sort of relationship between these two. Is there ever a right time to introduce your children to your mate or your mate to your children? Take a sip if you need to.
I did, and it's strong. I don't know. I can say for me, I always say if something happens to Frankie, I'm not bringing nobody around my kids. Nobody could ever move into my house. I don't want them to be. I don't ever want my kids to know anybody other than their father until they are grown.
Okay.
I don't know if that's realistic, but I don't know. And that's not because of like a blended family issue. That's just more so of like, I just think nowadays you just really can't trust people. That's my whole thing. I just cannot trust people. I mean, I don't like if my kids are away from me, period. I worry about them at school, you know, because you got a lot of teachers out here doing all kinds of things. And I know a parent that actually went to a high school this week, and they heard the coaches talking about some young pom-poms.
That's nasty.
It is. And I don't ever, and it took me back, and I was like, oh my God, that's so nasty. But when I thought about it, I can remember being in high school. And I remember hearing about certain teachers
And coaches.
and with certain students.
And why we didn't have a senior trip.
They went to Florida.
Junior year. We didn't necessarily have a senior trip because something had happened prior to.
Oh, I wasn't in school that much.
Because Coco Chanel was all up and through Rivertown and PetSmart.
I went when it mattered, so I don't know. But, yeah, so it was just, It's a dangerous world. But that blended family shit, that's tricky. Because, like, I'll put my hands on my kids, but...
Oh, you walked me right into my next question. Go ahead.
Go ahead, ask your question.
What are the boundaries of discipline when you have a blended family? Because I hear a lot of people say, you better not let that bitch hit my child, or you better not have that nigga around my child, but if your child living under my roof, because you moved in with me, let's not forget that, or I moved in with you. If we share a home, why can't I discipline your child? I'm not going to be, what I'm trying to say. I want to say the right word. I'm not going to overstep my bounds and try to replace that parent. But if you're being disrespectful, I should have the right to correct you for that. I don't necessarily have to put my hands on you, but I should be able to step in as the adult figure in the household and say, hey, you out of line for that. Because we've also seen where the parent won't correct their child, but the step parent or the blended parent will correct, and then the parent will then correct their mate. How does that work?
That's hard for me because, I hope Frankie don't get mad, but I don't even like to see him discipline my kids.
Because you're still in the mindset that those are only your kids.
I don't know why.
Because you think you always right.
Maybe.
That's what it is.
Maybe, but like, if he's disciplining the kids, like, I really have to like go in my room, close the door, because I can't take somebody yelling at my kids or going at my kids. So, this
is the thing, not to cut you off. You should want their father to yell at them before the world yells at them.
You're right.
Because the world's yelling is going to be totally different. And depending on what their father has said to them, the world won't have to yell at them. So don't look at it as like, oh, you just yelling at my kid. No, I'm preparing you for life.
But I think that's for anything. Like my boys play football, and I usually don't go to their practice, but I had to go to Trey's practice Thursday, and the coach like grabbed him.
Oh, you was on that sideline,
Nigga. I walked over there and I was just like, Trey, let me talk to you. And I was just like, you okay? And he was like, yeah. I was like, you sure you okay? Like, just give me a blink and I'll pull this nigga to the side too. Like, I don't know. But, you know, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning when the African lady was telling me, like, how the kids in her community are raised. And she's just like, anybody can discipline kids. It's really the parents.
It's the village that it takes, though. So you don't want somebody like that being a part of your village.
You're right. And it's so funny because I was going through my phone the other day and I found a video of you asking Frankie questions about school. Do you remember that?
I definitely remember that conversation. And it blew me away.
It did. And I was just like, you know what? Those are things that he wouldn't openly tell me. And to be honest, maybe because you're an educator, those are things I wouldn't even think about asking. So you need other people around your kids, interacting with your kids. But it's just like, how do you vet that out, you know, of who's genuinely there for the kid and who's not? I know somebody that is about, and she is a listener. Shout out to her because when I posted our show on like Apple and all that, I always go check to see who listens within.
Because you can see. So for y'all who be like, oh, I listened to the show.
Yes.
You really didn't.
So she was in Colorado this week. And the first 2 listens in the first hour was Colorado and Spain. So I was like, oh, she listened. But she always listens. She doesn't tell me all the time because we're busy, but
Spain being international, right?
Come on.
For y'all little show.
Come on. But yeah, so anyway, shit. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Because
You were. So in Colorado, this person always makes sure to listen and things like that.
So I know this person is blending her family. And she's really, like, she is like, I don't know if this is the right time. You know, like, even her son, the other person's kids tried to call this person mom. And the person that tried to call her kid mom was like a teenager. And her son is under 8. And he was like, no, that's Miss So-and-so for you. That's only my mom. She's really, and so I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And so I was just like, wow, because, you know, they are going to be a blended family. Like, they are going to get together. So I'm like,
that's a conversation I think that needs to be had with the child too, to explain, like, you know, the dynamics of.
But how do you even tell them that? Like, what do you say?
You have to reintroduce them as it's like, now this is an extension of your family, right? I think we don't have enough of those type of conversations. It's just, oh, this is mommy's friend, and now we all live together. How you know I want to live with him? How you know he want to live with me? How do you know this is going to work? I think sometimes parents, and I'm not a parent, so let me give that disclaimer. They forget that when you're moving in a relationship and you have children or a child, you don't just move for you move for them and you. So if it's not the best decision all the way around, have you taken that time to explain to them, life will be a little bit different for us now because of this person, you know, because of that person. Oftentimes we don't do that. It's just, you do what I say and don't ask me no questions. But I got a few questions and I'm going to ask them.
Now, I think as an educator, you or your profession is the one that has to deal with those questions. Because I feel like a lot of students, and I know, like, even me when I was a student, you get comfortable with the parent. I mean, with the teacher, because you're there all day.
All day.
And sometimes you go home and your parent may still be at work. So as a teacher, or even as like an outsider to the family, is that something that you discuss with the kid?
I don't go into detail. What I will say is, tell me how you feel about it. And then I'll say, okay, so what made this conversation so different than what you could have with your mother or your father? Well, I ain't never look at it like that, Miss So-and-so. You niggas won't get my government today. I never looked at it like, You can't talk to me. And I've worked in several populations. I've worked in general ed. I've worked in special ed. I've worked with nonverbal. I work with damn near everybody. But my general ed population, we have an excellent relationship. They feel comfortable talking to me. I'm never going to cross that boundary of a parent, but feel free to talk to me because maybe you needed a test run. Maybe you needed to run this past
the student.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the student needed to run this past someone, and they could get an opinion that is objective and not subjective.
Now, do you have those conversations if, like, say, for example, a kid comes to you about what's going on with the changes in their family? Is that a difficult conversation to have with the parent?
No, because a lot of my parents that I have grown to have relationships with, they know me.
Okay.
So we could sit down and have a very what would be uncomfortable for most is very comfortable for you and I.
Okay.
Because I can step outside of the role of my 9 to 5 and say, man, look, this is what it is. If you're seeing these changes in their behavior, this is probably why. What can we all do to help each other? I had a student try to commit suicide one time. And me and her mother had a real exchange of words right there in the emergency room. And I said, you so busy being her friend, you forgot to be her mother. Either you're going to be her mother and set some boundaries in the house, or you're going to be her friend and let her fuck in your house. And her mother said, I never had nobody stand up to me the way you did. But that made my relationship better with my daughter because I stopped seeing her as my friend and I had to step back in that role of being her parent. Those moments are far and few, but they're meaningful.
So do you think that as somebody that's, I'm not sure if vital is the right word, but somebody that is...
no, I would say vital is the right word.
Vital or prominent in a kid's life, do you think that it's important for the family to include you on their family changes?
I don't think it's important, but I think it would give you a better understanding. It would give all of us a better understanding if I saw a shift in their behavior or if you saw a shift in their behavior. Because I've had kids tell me things that they wouldn't dare tell their mother and father.
But why wait until the shift in behavior? Like, why not?
Maybe I'm not paying attention to it because I'm involved in my man. Or I'm involved in my woman. And we've seen that too.
But do you think, like, from an educator standpoint, do you think that a parent, if there is a change in the home, that a parent should come to you and let you know so that maybe you could possibly look out?
Do I think they should? Yes. Do I think that they're paying attention to that shift? Not all the time.
That's interesting. I never thought about sharing that information with my child's teacher because, you separate home from school, but a lot of times kids...
On average, how many hours a week does your child spend at school?
More than they do at home.
35. 35 to 40 hours a week. I know more about most people's children than they know about their children. You know why? Because I see them throughout the day. I see them in the morning. I see them in the afternoon. Shit, I've even seen them in early evening. I know what your day look like. I can tell you more about your child than you can tell me about your child.
I know that.
I think it is important to have those type of conversations. Is it necessary? Yes. But people won't always look at it that way because then they don't want to face the ill realities of what's going on in their home. And we good for this. Don't tell the house business.
Yeah. I always grew up like that. And I actually tell my kids that. And I know that when I went to my kids' kindergarten orientation, they was like, look, y'all kids tell us everything.
So they went totally against the grain of what you told them.
Yes. They was like, these kids come in here and sing about what's going on at your home. So if you don't want us to know, then don't do it in front of your kid. Because
did that sting as a parent to hear that?
It did. But she didn't say it necessarily to me. It was like a parent night or something like that. And I was like, damn. It just made me think about my kids. I know my kids. They chatterboxes. So I could see that. And I never would have thought about that if she wouldn't have told me. And so just having this conversation, talking about the blended families and things, it just shows me how important it is to actually include your entire community, even how we were saying earlier in the show, it really takes everybody. Like, it's important to include everybody so that they kind of know how to move with your kid. And I've always thought that home is home. Mm-hmm. You at school to learn ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. You ain't there to talk about, but I have heard about the changes that people have had or kids have had because of the situations. But real quick, before we go into your Ask the Don and Hall Pass, do you think it's easier for older kids to accept, because you have worked with all ages of children, even now, is it easier for older children to accept that than younger kids?
No, because older children can sometimes vet out when your partner isn't really for you. And sometimes, and I've seen this with some of my male students, when their families have broken up and then mom has gone to move on and dad has come to move on. Depending on the type of man mom is dating and the age of my students. So I'll just say I had a student who was 17, and he wasn't for no bullshit. He felt like he had to be the man in his house.
Okay.
How dare you bring another man in here? And it was a challenge for him to respect that man, for that man to respect him, because you moving into now my house. This is my daddy's house.
Was his dad at the house, though?
His dad was no longer at the house, but he knew that my father bought this house for my mother and I and my siblings. They had grown up in that house.
Okay.
So it got down to, Mom, you're not moving this nigga in my house. And every day he came to school, he was angry, but only at meals, because he felt like he needed to prove himself as a man. I think oftentimes when things like that happen, we transition our children into these unexpected roles, and we give them these unclear expectations. Not even willingly do we give them those expectations. It's, okay, well, you're the young man of the house. Well, I hate when I see women say, like, oh, my young king. Or, let that child be a child. Don't impose all of that responsibility on them. Whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously, don't do that.
Well, I know, like, in my house, I personally hate when Big Frank leaves, for him to tell Lil Frank. No.
When Big Frankie leaves, okay, because it said Big Frank leave.
No, when Big Frank leaves to go somewhere and say he's going to be gone for a while, and it's just me and the kids at home, he'll tell Lil Frank, take care of your mother.
So that's a little different. That's like imposing a sense of responsibility, but he's not telling him to take over the household. It's a little bit different. That to me looks like grooming.
To me, it's like, I can take care of myself. I'm the adult.
Nigga, I done been in the house with you. So sometimes you need that watchful eye.
And my baby is good for that. If my baby, he hold me down, but I don't want him to feel like he has to take care of me.
So maybe that's a conversation that needs to be had.
And it is. And Frankie's like, oh, I'm teaching him responsibility. I'm teaching him how to be a man. I get it, but I'm like,
but having him just watch out for the family is a little bit different than Little Frank assuming the role of his father.
You're right.
That's not the same. You know, him coming downstairs and say, "Ma, you good? You okay? I got the twins. Don't worry about it." That's different than just him feeling like, okay, well, when Mom get off from work, I know I got to cook dinner. I got to get the kids situated with their homework. That's a different level of responsibility that as a child, unless he or she wants it, it shouldn't be made for them to do.
But I have come, because I work far from my home, and sometimes his dad has had to do some things, and he'd just be home with the twins. And I've come home sometimes, he'd be like, all right, homework's done. Like Lil Frank, he'd be like, homework's done, and I told them to get in the bath. And I'm like, that's really nice. I appreciate it. But I want you to enjoy being a teenager. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to.
So do you want your kids with their homework done and bathed, or do you want them not knowing how to read and study and just walk around acting a fool?
It's 50-50. It's 50-50 because of course I want them to do what's right. But I don't know. I feel like you with the whole king thing. He can be my king, but I want you to enjoy your childhood. Okay. Because adulthood is real.
You know, somebody told me, and he was an older guy. He was like, you know, you need to enjoy being a child because you're an adult far longer than you are a child. And I wish I would have listened to him because, nigga, them naps be important. This whole thing of adulting.
Yes. I really wish I would have listened to my parents way back when. When they was like, you don't want to grow up too fast, nigga. Like, you don't.
You don't.
You really, really don't. Like, this shit is real.
It was more than what I bargained for. I ain't signed up for this.
Way more.
So, the Axodon.
Do we got time?
We definitely got time for this one.
Okay, look at Donnell.
Pay attention.
He
might get a red cup after this. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, a female friend, and she was saying how her mate does not sexually please her. And her words exactly were, he has the weed and no whacker, meaning he doesn't hit those spots. He just doesn't do anything for her. And I said for me, I wouldn't have stayed in that relationship that long because I'm a big girl.
I need the whacker.
You can't come to me with a small number 2 pencil.
That's why I was late
jumbo.
this morning. Yeah, you're right. I need the whacker. I need the whacker. You can get weed anywhere. Nigga, they got shops for that now.
We know that you can get the whacker.
You can even mail weed nowadays. You don't need no...
So you need the whacker, no weed.
I need the whacker.
The whacker
whack
with
this.
The whacker.
Nigga, you just showed your age. Did you raise the roof?
Nigga, you know what that handprint mean. Anyway.
I know you ain't tried me. Because that beetle done...
Hey, my father pointed it out too. But she said it's sex the end all be all. But like... Should sex be the determining factor in why she should leave this relationship? She said she hasn't cheated, but he doesn't sexually satisfy her. She was like, he doesn't hit the stroke. He doesn't have the mouth. He just doesn't have it.
He ain't got nothing.
But he a good man.
I personally...
What she need on this?
This shit just messed me up so bad. I personally don't think that you can teach that. I think you gotta just have it.
At our age, I'm not teaching nothing.
I'm not.
So what you say? Should she leave? Should she find someone that can satisfy her?
One. She got friends on that one.
Well, they in a relationship.
It's not.
They are in a relationship.
She got a friends on them. This ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't no hall pass. That ain't it.
So he don't get a pass.
No, sir. No, sir.
What if he doesn't know that he's not?
I mean, tell him. You can tell him, and he sees the boredom on your face.
Hey, speaking of that, so one time, I was doing my thing.
You got 60 seconds.
I do.
Donnell was like,
and the person was like, "Yeah, I caught you watching TV while we was doing it," and I was like, "Oh, okay." But it made them feel a certain type of way. But at that point, I had also checked out from that individual, so I wasn't interested in nothing they had to offer.
Well, I definitely think sex is more of a spiritual connection than it is physical.
Okay,
I can't say that.
So if it's spiritual, she should be able to spiritually feel.
Nah,
but the physical needs to.
It matches. It matches. It definitely matches. It matches.
So right now she mixed and match.
He out.
Literally.
Just like we about to be out.
That's it.
Hey, shout out to everybody that listens to the show. I appreciate it. And the reposts and all that. We like way in the season, but niggas is still showing us mad love.
They are.
But yeah, go ahead and weed whack that nigga on out.
Oh, so cut him.
Cut him.
Well, since you heard it, and you are a avid watcher, so you gotta avid watcher, listener. Come on, man. You gotta read the dictionary when you're all time. You making me look dumb up here.
Donnell, can you take us out? We'll see y'all next week.